Hey guys, this is Brent with the Finding Freedom podcast, and today I'm hosting Jordan Sellers. Hey, Jordan.
What's up, man?
So, just before we get started, can you give the people that are listening or watching an idea of like what you do, right? And you will explain this throughout the rest of the episode, right?
Yeah.
But just give them the nutshell version. Like who is Jordan?
Okay, so I guess the shortest version is I come from a unique background. I've always been kind of a salesman, natural salesman. I spent over a decade in ministry, and so fast forward, I have a degree in marketing and spent a decade in ministry. So now, if people ask me what I do, I'm a consultant and a creative. And so I guess what I do is I help people shift their mindset to understand their full potential and confidence of who they are. I help them clarify their message so it's clear, easy to understand, easy to repeat, and then give them or teach them creative tools to more effectively share that with the world.
Man, that's awesome. All right, I'm excited to host you on this new episode of Finding Freedom. So let's get to it.
I'm fired up, man. I'm ready when you are.
So embrace the awkwardness.
Yeah, I can't wait.
What do you want to talk about?
You're going to ask me what I want to talk about?
What do you want to talk about?
Oh, God. So, I'm just going to shoot it straight. We'll just like jump right in the deep end.
Mm-hmm.
Life kind of sucks right now.
Oh, yes, it does.
I'm just like, I'm an optimist at heart. I think people pay me well to be an optimist and just lift them up and cheer them on and like wind in their sails.
Mm-hmm.
Like my boat is crashed on the rocks, though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I think everybody's is because I could relate and say the same thing.
I think so too. Yeah, so you can't make this up. This is a good way, I guess, to frame it. Is if 2020 wasn't brutal enough because of a disparity between our insurance company and our mortgage company and our roofing company. 2 days ago, me and the wife decided the percentage of our disaster relief loan that we were going to use to renovate my office, buy a new camera. Big decision, right?
Right. Yeah.
It's real money. I mean, it's not funny money. It's in your checking account. Like that's how the disaster loan works. So
right.
For as a couple, for you to finally get to the point where you're like, this amount of money, you could spend it today. I trust you. I believe in you. Boom. God is my witness. Within 24 hours, I wrote that amount of money plus $1,000 to our roofing company because of the disparity between insurance, mortgage company, roofing company. God. Within 24 hours, like the first breath of fresh air that I thought I was going to have in a very long time.
It's just like ripped out.
Oh, just instantly. Not the end of the world. It's just money. And we're not talking like $100,000 or anything insane here. We're just like, but for middle class folks, like more than $10,000. So
it's a big deal.
It's a lot of freaking, And so,
and you hear story after story like that.
Mm-hmm, yeah. And so it just, I don't know, man. I was excited when you called me because I just got that punch to the gut. Literally, yeah.
Wait, so I asked you to do the podcast like right after that happened?
Yeah, within hours.
Whoa.
I just written the check. And so I was like, sweet. So
I don't know. I was just like, I need to get back in the groove after having our baby, and
good timing.
And I
was excited to do this.
Like, all right, I need the episode 3, right? And I need somebody to follow up Ben Terry because Ben Terry's was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, I really feel like Jordan needs to do one.
Oh, really? Well, so you went from a guy that everybody in Lake Charles knows to a guy that like 73 people in Lake
But it's
Charles
not about the fame, and even with his, and I wanted to just showcase like, the real and raw side of him. And that's my goal with this podcast is for people to come on and be real, right? So the whole concept of finding freedom, it's a multifaceted sort of thing in that, we share ways that people overcome freedom, get freedom from like drugs, alcohol, that sort of thing from a mental health standpoint. Obviously that's what I do every day. But also just real people sharing their stories because we're in a time right now that just sucks. There is no other way to put it, but it just plain sucks. And in the past few days, I've been in not the same boat as you, but just a real negative space of just, what is this going to look like next year? I just brought a kid into this world, or, I mean, obviously my wife did, I don't have to,
I mean, hey, we played a part though.
Yeah.
You know what I
mean? But, you have a kid and you're like, well, okay, what's life going to look like next year? Like, I don't know.
So funny about kids. So you have, a newborn.
Right.
I have a 7-week-old, I think. Mm-hmm. So I got in trouble yesterday. This is how, let me just tell you, this is what 2020 is like. I got in so much trouble yesterday because I said, what, we have like a 4 or 5-week-old, right? And so mother-in-law and wife ears perk up.
Ooh.
And like look at me. And they're like, how old? I was like, oh God. I said, yeah, her birthday is like October 24th or something like that. And they're like, you don't even know the birthday of your brand new daughter? I was like, okay, I'm sorry, that's a little too late. Like October 30th? And they're like, that's the wrong direction. Like, so much stress. I'm literally, and so I'm like neglecting my newborn for phone calls with like mitigation specialists and insurance and mortgage and roofers and stuff like that. So kind of a heart check, like a kind of another little, I said, holy crap. I airballed the birth date of my brand new daughter because while we're talking, I'm sitting here going, okay, so I've ordered this camera and I call this client and I hit this deadline and I get that retainer and we pay that bill and they start on the sheetrock on Thursday. And I'm like, oh, yeah, she's a month-ish old. That's super unfair. And it sucks that we're in that position right now, that those things made it to my brain in priority. Mm-hmm. Before my brand new kid. I didn't like that.
Yeah, I mean, and it's because it's this fight or flight kind of mentality. You're so overloaded with all this input and decision making and this decision, and then you get hit like within seconds it goes from decently positive to just completely negative. And
it's been
yeah. I mean, it's just one hit to the gut after the next. And you just are like, okay, when is it going to end? You know? And I mean, it's not an excuse to, forget your kid's birthday, of course, so I'm not going to necessarily take your side on that one.
That's smart.
No.
That was good. That was smooth. Yeah. Because your wife is going to listen to this and be like, yeah, way to go, Brent. Call him a butthole.
Best husband ever, right? Yeah. Yeah, but when you get more than one kid, like, I mean, we're on number 3 already. So it's like, okay, what was this one's name? Like,
yeah. As long as they all make it in the minivan when you leave Walmart,
yes,
I think you're winning.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, but we don't even go to Walmart anymore, right? COVID, do the whole grocery pickup.
Don't even. Let's just.
Well, I mean, that's what this is about. Like, just being real, Like, how much stuff have we had to face this year?
Dude, this.
And you have, like, I mean, I talk to you pretty regularly. It's like, it's like one thing after the next, and I've texted you multiple times and in this negative headspace.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I sent you that one video. The one I filmed it right here. It was in front of this window. Remember the one where I was like, I don't really like, I curse a little bit, but not like a ton.
Oh yeah.
Remember the one where I actually, I literally dropped like a grown man F-bomb in a cell phone video to you. And I was like, you worry about you. What makes you happy, what protects your family's interest, what you believe is the right decision, and then F everything else. And I said, I'm sorry. And I was like, that is inappropriate, but that's where my head's at right now. And I sent it to you, and I was like, oh my God, so unprofessional. I can't believe I sent that. And you sent back, you're like, that's one of the nicest things anybody's ever told me. I was like, okay. But that, it just came out as super raw because I felt like I couldn't protect my own. That's what this has felt like. It's super overwhelming. I feel like I'm not in control of our family's best interest and our family's future. I feel like other people are in control of our at least nearsighted our future. And as a man, it really, really sucks. Like a lot. It's heavy.
It is heavy.
And so, yeah, that's why I don't know. I feel like I'm always somewhere else right now with the family. We're hanging out watching a Disney movie or something, and I'm just doing math in my head.
Mm-hmm. If I do this, and then I do this, and then we have this happen, and then, okay, what, and then da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And it's just you're not in the moment. It's hard to be in the moment.
It really is. That's what I feel like the hurricane and COVID all together bundled up. It really, really, you're just always, just always processing the next thing.
In the election, right? I mean, so, add the politics in there.
We're
just going to like throw it all in.
That's how crazy life is right now. Like in the middle of the election, just think about this. This is America we're talking about here. Everybody loves to be an expert on politics when it's time. I think I've had maybe 3 conversations about the election since the election. And it's only because we make it there. Because after you talk about how's your house doing? How's your house doing? What about this? What about that? By like the 7th thing on the list, finally, it's like, anyway, you think there's any election fraud? It's like, who'd you vote for or something? Usually it would be first. That's how crazy it is for people in Southwest Louisiana. I would love a heated debate. I'd like to play the middleman. I've always kind of done that. So if someone's like hardcore Trumper, I'll just be like, what if I voted for Biden just to do it? And then vice versa. I love to see people defend in what they believe in.
Right.
That's like, for me, the difference between a educated, empowering millennial and someone who's like on cruise control. I like when people believe in their ideas. They defend them. I think that's the Christian in me too. And so,
yeah, I mean, we didn't even get to talk about that yet. But,
dude, we're not even there.
The whole aspect of faith, right? I mean, we can probably get to it.
I'm sure we'll get to it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because I don't know. It depends on what questions you ask me, depending on where we go. Because not everybody knows. I'm like this weird, like ghostly figure that went from, I was in ministry for over 9 years. And then I started my own business, which I was moonlighting as while I had a full-time job. Just because, working at church, you don't have like the highest income. So I always moonlighted to make ends meet. And then one day I'm just not working at church anymore. It's like super, and I don't market myself because I was blessed. I was slammed. My middle of 2019 to end of 2019 was exponentially more stressful and brutal and difficult than what COVID was. And so for me, COVID was a substantial pay cut, 75%, every bit of it, wow. Just from on a business sense.
Man,
I was super blessed because I had, for the first time in my entire life, I was in control of my own income. So it's like, sometimes it's frowned upon to like celebrate when you do really well, which I think is so, I don't know. I'm spending time with people that make way more money than I make, and they want to know that you're doing well. They want to celebrate you.
Absolutely,
they want to talk about it. It's like, don't downplay. Every success deserves some sort of notoriety because you worked hard for it. You believed for it. You prayed for it. And so I could go back to where, I was on staff at a church for over 9 years, and we went our separate ways. I was asked to step down from my position, I think in like August or September of last year.
Yeah.
And so there's like a whole backstory of there that's just brutal. The emotional strain of, wanting to be in your dream job, but it not being what you expect it to be, but then the weight of it being ministry. And so to go from that to like have to start a business to make ends meet in the middle of all that, I landed on my feet amazing, like blessed beyond measure. So the reason why COVID wasn't a huge deal, I'll get to COVID. I think it's okay to say that, like, we set, I hope this is encouraging to someone. So it was terrifying to like be let go of your job, which that's a funny thing. So, the fastest way to get like fired from a job is to be really bad at what someone wants you to do because you're dying to do what you would really love to do. And so like, that's a good way to get let go. Like to be crappy at what your job description says, or like half of it. I had like 9 jobs. That's a different podcast. I was paid for 1, but I had 9. Welcome to church.
Yeah, I mean that. Yeah,
that's a whole different conversation. But unfortunately, like half the things on that job description, I was just dropping the ball over and over and over and over again. So of course, I mean, it's still a business. You can't be in that position. So
right.
what's really, really crazy, this is why COVID sucks so bad. From like November to March, just from a financial standpoint, I did better than I've ever done in my entire life. And we thought, holy cow, this is gonna be amazing. This is gonna be the best year ever. I replaced my 2019 income from the church, which is that substantial, in like 2.5 months. Mm-hmm. And then COVID shows up, and it's like, glad you did well. You're gonna live off of this for the next 6 months. Yeah. And so it's about an 80% drop in income from like March to from the end of March, like from April-ish until the hurricanes hit, is probably like 25% of what I did in like 3 months. But I don't think anybody knew that, because I don't like to blast negative. I don't like to blast negativity. I don't like to complain. Like I got like my dad's one of the greatest men you'll ever meet. And mm-hmm. my mom was sick from the day I was born until the day that she passed away. They believe that my birth like gave her systemic lupus. And so our whole life, dad just like busts his butt, plays both parents, and everything's always going to be okay. You're always going to do well, always going to be loved. Everything's going to be fine. And so that's what I was brought up as. So
yeah, your dad is a good man.
Yeah, he's freaking amazing. I had like the bar set so high. I don't even know how to even conceive when half of the stress of what I think he dealt with on a daily basis for like 30 something years enters in front of me, I almost crack. And so I don't understand how he has the shoulders or the capacity to do it. And so, no, from when COVID really started, probably like March, we just decided as a family, we followed the rules. Wife was a school teacher. Fortunately, she still got paid. And we just hunkered down and spent time together as a family for like 5 months. Super chill, super quiet.
Yeah, but I mean, it was a resting period, like
it really was. Especially anybody out there that's in ministry, you understand this is, I'll say this carefully. It's like running it 80% to like preserve 20% so you can stay sane mm-hmm. and, be healthy for your family. Sometimes that feels frowned upon. Not even on purpose. Like it's a better perception to always be running at 120% in ministry. It's like you want everybody to know that you're always on your A game. No one left behind. Jesus is on the throne. Like you never turn it off. Oh my goodness. So I didn't realize how tired I was.
Yeah.
Until in the middle of COVID, I would go 2 or 3 weeks without speaking to a client, pitching, building a website, doing a video. I would do nothing. And it's like the wife was just so okay with it. Erica was just like, I get it. It's fine. Like, we're fine. That was weird for me. Like, that was just alien to, I've never been in that position in over a decade, probably. Oh, yeah.
You got to regroup, man.
Oh, dude. And then right when that's the crazy part, like right when you regroup, I don't think people outside of Southwest Louisiana, I know that the whole world is hurting. Like economically, emotionally, spiritually, it's jacked up. But being in nobody's demise or peril is worse than someone else's. We were just, I did a video for Jason Webb, who was tragically killed just by working out at CrossFit. He's just working out 4 a.m. And a drunk driver who just hits him while he's working out 4 a.m. Kids, wife, everything.
Yeah.
Left without him.
And it's such a sad story.
And they asked me to do a little slideshow for him. And it was so hard. I was just breaking down while I was doing that slideshow because I'm over here complaining about like our sheetrockers being 2 weeks late. Are you kidding me? It's sheetrock. And in my mind, it's just as important as the $40,000 pay cut, because in the moment that's what it feels like. And I'm doing this video and I'm like, oh, I thought we had real problems.
Yeah.
I thought we had real, you know.
Yeah, and there's a whole lot of different levels. You're thinking about, you know, how's the wife, his wife gonna do it, and the kids and them growing up without a dad, and I mean it's like all those run through your head while you're sitting there editing that video, and you're like, man.
And so that was like just a little perspective shift for me. Is that actually sparked the conversation before we wrote that check? That actually sparked the conversation of when to stop operating in fear and just, it's just money. It's my mother-in-law. We were, it's funny, right after I wrote that check, which it's not the amount, it's the principle of it, the confidence that you had before. My mother-in-law, so wife is crying, and I made a joke, but I wasn't joking. I said, "Does anybody have like a Prozac or something, or a Valium?" And they're like, "No." I said, "Dang, 'cause my chest is heavy. Like I'm gonna go sit down. My chest is heavy." And I was joking, but so I guess perks of being in your 30s, I wasn't actually joking. Like my chest was heavy. Like I felt like I was struggling to breathe. And so wife is crying. I'm sure I feel like an elephant just sat on my chest. And mother-in-law, she just points at our 6-week-ish old. Now that I'm not going to screw the timeline up. Jeez, that's going to be in my head. And she points at her, and she's just like wide-eyed, just looking around. And she said, "She doesn't know. She'll be fine. It's not affecting her.
Yeah,
She's got y'all." 2-year-old comes running in the room. Like, "I love you guys. I love you, Daddy." I'm like, okay. It doesn't really matter. Feels like it does, but it doesn't. That's what's so hard right now.
Yeah. I can imagine your dad felt real similar whenever you were a kiddo, you know?
Yeah.
Like dealing with all the stuff that he was dealing with, trying to be the strong person, you know, and that stuff you don't remember because you were a kid, same age, like 2, 3, 4.
Well, I remember a lot more than I haven't told a lot of people like the story about my mom and stuff. I bet you there's a lot of people that have dealt with the same thing, but you know, my teen years were very, very difficult because I was bullied a lot. Just, God, kids are so mean, man.
They are.
They're so brutal. So I could tell you a twofold story. This one's kind of interesting. We were cleaning up, which is so sad because the trailer that I'm about to talk about was leveled in the hurricane. So
This past hurricane. Not Rita.
So the trailer that I'm about to talk about. So we're in my grandfather's trailer that my dad is staying in because after my mom passed away, after a few years, it was tough staying in the same house, so he sold it. And so while he figures things out, he's living in this trailer. Well, Hurricane Laura leveled it. So before hurricane, me and Erica and Aria are over there just like spending time with him. And we're looking through some old books and like old pictures and stuff from high school and like the goofy little posters you make. And I've got these old Michael Jordan posters. And she opens this box. It's got these poems in it. And she starts reading it. And it says something. I don't remember what it was. And she starts reading this poem. And it's really, really dark. And she's extremely intelligent. So she's like, I think, is this about suicide? Like, yes. She's like, did you want to kill yourself in high school? It's like, yeah, I did. Because it was that brutal. And I used to write poetry about it, which is great. The irony, wrote these poems that there was like hidden meaning, won awards with it. Like all these just goofy little poetry awards. And she finds it and she's like, that was your senior year. I thought you were happy. I was like, well, I was good at faking it. She's like, holy cow. And full circle, that is why, like in those years, it was twofold. And so this is why I'm going to be, when I'm a dad, I'm going to be so careful, paying attention to how my daughter reacts at home and stuff. Because when I would come home, a home was just as brutal as school was. And so I had no safe spots, no safe places, except church. That's why I got saved, actually.
Yeah.
And so church was my only safe place. I'd go to youth group, and everybody loved me, respected me, believed the best about me. It was awesome. So shout out to Youth on Fire, Miss Natha from, holy cow, 20-something years ago now. Mike Ruiz from Mike's Car Wash. And like a lot of people know Mike. He's amazing. Mike's actually who prayed for me to get saved.
No way.
That long ago, yeah.
That's awesome.
And so, little backstory. I remember when his daughter was like in his arms, like baby. I think her name's Presley. I remember Presley was like a little baby. Not just like 19 or something. Makes you feel so old. Jeez. And so, so that's part about me. I remember being like 15 and 16, and it was crazy. So my mom, we grew up Christian. She would be like, hey, you can't go spend the night there because I don't know what they believe. I don't know what movies they watch. She was like super hyper, insanely protective. And so she would be feeling well. So I thought I could leave the house and have a chance to go do something. And then fast forward like a week later, someone she did approve of, I could go spend the night or something, but she would be on like feeling so bad that I couldn't leave her.
Yeah.
And so I'm like a 15, 16-year-old kid juggling these. You can't leave because mom is sick because dad's working nights. And then when mom feels good, she was like, they're devil worshipers. And I was like, that's my friend. What are you talking about? I was like, don't say that about my friends.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot. Like, I've only got like 2 or 3. And it's just kind of weird. And so that's why when things like, goodness gracious, when the hurricanes have pushed me past that. So I wouldn't prepare for that. But up to COVID, the craziness that happened at the church, and just processing through that and then restoring that and then starting a business and doing really, really well. It was such a blessing. Through COVID, I thought I was doing pretty good. And then the hurricanes, I don't know, just kind of pushed me past my limit, I felt like.
I don't know, but you're continuing to push forward, right?
Yeah. So that's the craziness in all this, is that I feel like, as stressed as I am, that I'm not like Debbie Downer. I'm still juggling. I still have clients who I just absolutely love, adore. They think the world of me. I think the world of what they're doing. I still love what I do. Just the opportunity to get people to, what I do is so unique, right? So if you go read my YouTube bio, it's like I want people to shift their mindset so they understand their potential. But then once you understand your potential, I like to help people clarify their message so people know who they are and what they do. Because I think there's this little journey you go on, right? Where, and then after that, I think there's creative tools that you can use to position yourself to successfully like market yourself to the world. So I take people on this little journey, right? Where you need to understand, it's so cool. Trudy Lonsky, she's an aspiring author. She's so amazing. And we had this big breakthrough in like our second consulting session where I said, you have permission to be an expert at telling your story.
Exactly.
Okay. I said, that's all you need permission to do. And she's like, say what? And I said, yeah, you are already, like, we can open a marketing book. You're already marketable. You already have a great message. You already have great composure. You're good on video. You have the means to hire someone to help you on social media. You have all these things at your disposal for going through that. But no one told you at the beginning, you're quite amazing and your story is amazing. So it's okay if you're not an expert on the 10 ways to tell the world about it. You just need to be willing to tell it.
Right.
And in 10 days, she wrote 5,500 words of her book.
Man.
After that. And I was like, did that make that big of a difference? Like, what was that? And she's like, I just didn't know it. It's okay to just be an expert on yourself. I was like, oh, I should probably write that down. Like, I feel like I should tell. And so I didn't realize I've been telling everyone that I talked to that, but I had finally found that perfect, like, juice. You know what I'm saying? Like, the juice of that. So,
and maybe that, I mean, you're really trying to apply it for yourself.
Oh, I am trying to. Yeah, but see, when you live in a marketer's world, in a salesman world type thing, it's like, I feel like if I can't produce the best version of myself in that moment, it's not worth showing. But then I tell every single one of my clients that's not true. So it's actually much harder to live. Like, I really have a joke. I have a joke that everyone that I've helped, their websites are exponentially better than mine, which I think all entrepreneurs understand that. And so all clients' websites so much better than my website, because I get so passionate about helping them be better. But then when I go back in my own mind, I think we all deal with this, whether you're an entrepreneur, at a job, pastor. It's like, it's easier to believe the best about someone else than it is for yourself a lot of times. I don't know if it's a man thing or a people thing, but for me, for sure, I can get more excited about someone else's vision and their belief system than my own. And it's crippling, like, especially in entrepreneur world.
Oh yeah.
It is the amount of financial gain and just bravado I've left on the table by not going, it's okay to say you're awesome. Like, it's okay to believe that you're awesome. It's okay to believe that when you do amazing things, it will help other people. So stop saying, I'll help enough people, eventually I'll be able to afford to show people that I'm kind of okay too. You literally get to help less people walking around like that.
I mean, and really, it's, you have to believe in yourself before you ever can start to believe in other people too. You know, and so, like, it's just a thing in life, a life lesson you have to learn. You know, really work on yourself before you can work on other people. Or another one is, how can you love yourself before you can love somebody else? Like, really love somebody else.
Yeah. That one, that always kicked my butt in ministry.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, I would say so there's two ways to look at that. Is, I could say ministry, but let's just call it, like, we'll call it a job, just so people don't think I'm just throwing church under the bus. So it's like, you can sit there, and if you don't invest discipline, self-belief, self-worth, self-drive, all of those things, the people that are better at doing that it'll permeate deeper into the organization. They'll be more successful at their current position.
Right.
And they'll by default be better at their next position. The people they surround themselves will benefit more from someone who understands and believes all those things. And so one of my downfalls is that I consistently would believe that, say that, or do that now remember, I'm like a crazy marketer. I always think about the end user obsessively. The very last person at the end of the line, so the idea that's on the whiteboard before it makes it to the computer, before it makes it into a video, before it makes it into a sponsored ad, how that culture shift affects everybody in the room, how you speak, how you talk. So if I catch their attention, if they click on it, after they click on it, what happens? What do we say? After we say it, does it work? And if they don't listen, how do we call them back and try again? And if all that works, they make it in the door. How do they feel? How are we perceived? And how likely are they to believe the best about us enough to come back and try it all again? I'm a crazy person. That goes through my head by default. Mm-hmm. And then someone will be like, well, how's your marriage? I'm like, not important. So, not okay. And I keep saying, definitely wasn't okay in ministry. It was one of the reasons. Right. And so a lot of the things that if we ever talk about it, I know on my podcast and my YouTube, I'll eventually open up and tell some of those stories.
Right.
Like, I felt like I dealt with a lot of things, like just like emotional abuse and just some craziness that in any work environment, you should stand up for yourself or ask for, like, talk to someone. Like, but a lot of those situations, a percentage of them were my fault because I didn't believe enough about myself to stand up for myself or ask questions or, like, fight for my ideas or ask for more respect. And so if you continually, one of the most painful things you hear from good pastors is that insecurity is another form of pride. It hurts so much when you hear it, but it's so true. God, it's so true. And so you're sitting there secretly hoping everybody figures out all your problems without you having to say it, which is extremely prideful. And so, yeah, that has been a huge struggle of mine, always. And I know I'm not the only person that does. It's much, much easier to just act like everything's okay. believe the best about everyone around you and shove your own problems, just like keep shoving them down, just like. And so,
how do you feel talking about that? Just like right now, like how are you feeling?
I feel good. I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I put myself in. If I was someone listening to me say this, one, I'm like naturally a long-winded storyteller, like really long-winded. And so I want to break this up into like 5 episodes and tell you all the details because I'm a massive overshare. So, like, it's very hard for me not just throw all the dirt.
Yeah.
About myself and other people. That's why I said I'm not throwing anybody under the bus. I have my own problems too. But it feels good to kind of like teeter around without having like your own personal sob story. Because I don't think that that's healthy either. So if I sat down in front of you and just told you that all life is miserable and it's nobody's fault except mine and the world is out to get me and Satan hates me and you go down that whole one, I don't think anybody wants to hear that. And so that's a terrible podcast.
Well, I mean, you would probably just have to sign my client paperwork.
Yeah,
at that point, so right. We're just in a transition.
Yeah, we're just gonna session. I'm gonna send you a bill at the end of this, and so definitely don't want to do that. And so I like kind of, it's like we're skirting around the actual root of the cause and just kind of the how do you feel with how you've handled what's been put in front of you.
Right. And you know, I get it. I mean, in an hour, you're not going to be able to really get to the root of all of the things, right? Mm-hmm. But really, you know, I mean, it's just being able to, you know, kind of, I guess, give the, not the nutshell version, but just like, you know, get a few great nuggets in. Yeah. And really just give those, you know, so that it could probably help somebody. Yeah. You know, and I think that, you know, you kind of were talking a little bit a while ago about I have something I'm gonna have to read because that's good because I want you to say what you were about to say. I have to read some of these because I have to write them down. I don't know if it's ADD or just get really excited about things. Maybe both.
It's both. Excuse me. And so sometimes I'll have like this really great or brilliant idea, like an aha moment for myself. This is so stupid. So I'll have like a Jordan aha moment. It's like, man, if someone would have told me this, it would be amazing. I have to hurry up and write it down because my stupid brain will be like, nah, that's not that important. It'll be like, yeah, you, big deal. And so I have this notes. Look at this. It's called, where is it? It's literally called Jordan Ideas. Ezra, who's behind the camera over there, he is actually shared on this one. And so some of these are, look at this, there's a lot. You can't see this, but like videos for my website. You know, when you start, hold on, one of these. So when I was trying to decide what I'm going to do for a living, this is how I can bring myself back to these two things helped me realize the weight that people above you in an organization feel. So I needed this so I can kind of heal from some of the jacked up stuff that I felt like I went through over the past few years. But understanding that sometimes what people say or do isn't a representation of who they are. Always, sometimes it is. And so check this one out. This may or may not apply. But I come back to this one every once in a while. And so I say, so you need to remember that the person above you has the same pressure as you and more. Mm-hmm. I said, before you pitch the change, the fresh vision, you have to be excellent at what was asked first. And I used to always. So if they asked me to do something, I'd be like, oh, okay, fine. But what would be really cool is if, and it's like all of my energy, all of my excitement was like
focused on something else.
Of something that I was just so much more excited about. But if I was to like knocked out the grunt work first, and I said, so this is pretty off the wall. Hopefully you get something out of this. I said, so if you ever go to apply for a job and it says you need someone who can be a self-starter, what does that mean? Because I've always thought I was a self-starter. I said, does it mean you'll be unguided, uncorrected, unmanaged? No. You'll be all of those things, but you're expected to do something else. A self-starter means fixing all the problems you're asked to fix and finding new ones to tackle yourself. So it doesn't mean you get out of one job, so I need you to be a self-starter. That doesn't mean you get free range.
Right.
Right? No, you still have to be good at what you were hired to do. And you have to be willing to find new things and fix them and come up with creative ideas. And so, here's what I wrote. I said, but the key here isn't to be more excited about what you find and less excited about what you're asked to do. I said, the reason you feel that way is because deep down we need validation. One of these jobs gets a thank you for doing your job, maybe, if you're lucky. And one of them gets a, wow, I can't believe you thought of that. You're absolutely brilliant. Mm-hmm. What I learned by losing my dream job. So now we'll get heavy. So when I ever do my podcast or write my book, that's going to be one of the things I talk about. Because I had my dream job, but I lost it because 50% of it was brutal. It was, I felt, underutilized, misused, underappreciated. And there's truth to that. Without throwing people under the bus, there is truth to that. But the other 50% of it is I put so much energy into what I wanted to do instead of what I was told to do or asked to do. And so what I learned by losing my dream job was that I thrived on the high five and less on the quiet assurances. The quiet assurances. I said, so hear this. If your leadership, pastors, board owners, managers ask you to complete certain tasks for certain reasons, do them and do them well. Thank you or not. Only after those are done in excellence can your mind wander on the new, the big, the aha moments. I believe deep down that the universe and your character will take care of the thank yous. This is me preaching to myself. This is like 2 weeks after I got let go, by the way. Yeah. If your current company doesn't appreciate you, give it time. They will. And if they don't, someone will. Your biggest hope for yourself, your future, your family, and your sanity is that going unnoticed but doing everything well is better than quiet resentment waiting for the right moment to come along. If I would have read that like 2 years ago, my life would look completely different. I said, always be amazing, always be a self-starter. They have a 100 to 100% relationship. Those are the rock stars, the LeBrons, the Steve Jobs, and possibly you. I said, when you reverse those, you build up resentment and contentment in your heart, and it's a dangerous path. Don't fall down it.
Resentment. It's a big one.
Oh, yeah. And so, yeah. So if you want to ask, I guess, how I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talking about it feels really, really good. Feels legit. And so I feel like right about when COVID hit is when I wasn't, I was surrounded by people, family, friends, and clients especially, that I used to tell, hope I'm not throwing too much business, but it was the first time ever in my life that I would tell someone to their face, I can pull that off. I'm going to blow you out of your seat when I send this invoice because I won't be able to go to sleep. And for me to not go to sleep and spend less time with my daughter and less time with my wife is going to cost you a premium. Mm-hmm. And they'd say, I don't care. We want you. We're not calling anybody else. What? You can say that? And I'd never experienced that before, especially not monetarily because...
Right.
And for some reason, that did something in my brain. Like a weight just lifted off of me. I said, okay, people love you, adore you, respect you when you show up, when you are 100%, So when that person said that, I didn't go into that going, okay, there's a chance I might screw this up. There's a chance that I'm not as awesome as I think I am. There's a chance that maybe the person that just told me this about myself is right. No, I finally had this breakthrough where I was like, the one person in this one conversation believes in me so much that they're going to write that check. And I'm going to knock it out the freaking park. Mm-hmm. Like, they're going to, when I'm done, they're going to be like, how in the world did you do this in that amount of time for that? And that was just a huge breakthrough. And then COVID hit.
Man.
So, and then, but it almost, see, so now I feel great. Like I can laugh about it. But, dude, I've just learned so much. And so when you eventually see me launch more of my content, it's going to be, I think I'm an expert on, this is going to sting. I think I'm an expert on thriving being underappreciated, underprepared, and overwhelmed. Because I did it for a very, very, very long time.
Yeah.
And now I can say that without like a sob story behind it or a pity party. I can say that and go, that's why I can't wait to talk to you about this project. Because when you say, I wish we had more money. Me too. Me too.
Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah, but I don't think we can afford you. Probably not. Guess what? It's fine. I love you guys. I want the best for you. And it's like this confidence to deliver whatever the need is, because it could always be worse. And I've dealt with worse. And I've worked with less, with a weaker belief system, with a weaker support system, with less finances. Even before, like during COVID,
Yeah.
I've worked with less equipment, less trust. Oh, bottom of the pit. Oh my, oh. And so, if you want to know, I guess where I am now, insanely stressed because of all the hurricane stuff. But
And a lot of it's just because there's so much to do. It's hard to even figure out what's the next step. What's the next step?
oh yeah, I have, and there's like a lingering. That's one of the things, the unsurety of it all is there's a lingering, just a little touch of lingering fear where right when I get excited about something, even if it's for someone else, that's what's tough with clients right now. My office that we're supposed to have renovated 6 months ago,
Yep.
is still an empty green room with water damaged walls everywhere. Like 6 months. And so every time I'm like, I'll film that YouTube video eventually, right? I'll preach that mini sermon eventually. I'll go to pitch a client, and oh my goodness, it pains me is that the dream that will pop in my head, the ideal scenario. I'm a salesman at heart, so I can't help it. So, I'll think of a $25,000 solution to a problem they don't even know exists. Because I'm a salesman. That's what I like to do. I like to, sell them a Cadillac Escalade, even if they want a Toyota Corolla. And then we meet in the middle, and you realize, wait a second, there's a certain amount of resources to achieve a certain goal.
Yeah.
And if you can knock that goal out the park for that amount of resources, you're a brilliant consultant and creative.
Yep.
I love being that guy too. But my brain has all these insane, crazy ideas. I can't make it 10 seconds into one of them and go, I can't deliver that. I run my business from my mother and father-in-law's kitchen table.
Right now, I mean,
Right now.
for those of you watching, we're in his house. I mean, there's no floor.
Yeah,
there's
y'all
nothing,
can't even. So check this out. We decided to do this episode. This is our home. It's concrete floors everywhere. We have holes in the ceiling. We have holes in the walls. We have no insulation.
Yep.
We actually have a content adjuster working right now. So he's in the back room going through our little girl's clothes and stuff that smell like mildew and stuff. So he's actually inventorying all of that. And he's so nice. He's creeping and being so quiet. He's walked through a few times.
Yep.
And so how 2020 is this? This is where we're doing this episode. So that is my biggest fear and it feels like no matter how well I think things are doing, it feels like a stranglehold. How does what I've done or gone through apply to other people? It's like if I could say something, to other people.
I mean, but then it's like, how is what you said so far not apply to other people and they can't get something out of it? Even the stuff you read on your phone, even just briefly skirting around the stuff that happened with your mom.
Yeah.
How many other people went through that kind of thing? How many people have gone through a job where they're not valued and understood, and they have all these great ideas, and want to do do things a certain way, and just never really get heard, right? And I'm not saying that's more of my story, right? I don't think I've ever shared that with you, but in other jobs that I've had in the past, I've had these ideas of like, hey, we could do this, but I'm the youngest person, so it's not going to really get valued.
No.
And so yeah, and then I started my own practice, and now I'm doing what I want to do, right?
That's a dinosaur way of thinking. I'm being honest. So if I'm frank, whenever I start talking to people, yeah, that's powerful because so we were talking to one of the schools here. I won't name them by name, but anybody that knows me knows who I'm talking about, that I work with a lot. And they're just like amazing. Such good clients to work with because they understand the power of story. And so we sat down in their office like a year and a half ago. And it's so funny that you say this. This first thing that comes to mind whenever you say this is this story. And they have there's like a fight between a new thought and an old thought. And it's not right or wrong. That's what people get so misconstrued about is, so you'll hear someone like me. So I'm 34. You'll hear me say something like, well, he feels that way because he's 60, and it'll sound disrespectful, but in the moment, it's just like you got to get the information out. And so you'll be like, well, 20 years ago, it was like that. And so it's not like that anymore. So it's not offensive. And so I remember we're talking, and you could hear this tug of war between, well, we've always done it this way, and it's worked. And what about this? So I was just the person that came in and said, well, if it's always worked, the anxiety and unsurety that you feel wouldn't exist. If it was really working, it wouldn't exist. And so you got to be willing to do different things.
Yeah.
You have to be willing. If it was really working and you were thriving, there wouldn't be a meeting about what could we do different. There would be a meeting of how do we invest more time, energy, finances, people, and throw it all into what's already working so it continues to work even better. So if your meetings aren't going like that, you're already missing the boat. So just from a marketing perspective, so that's when I'm the crazy person that shows up to the meeting because I'll frame it like that. Be like, man, if this unsurety, this quicksand feeling, I've said this in so many meetings. I said, y'all feel that quicksand feeling? The new competition has a better looking building. You know what I'm talking about? I was like, you feel it. It's like quicksand. It feels like it's going to swallow you up. So the overhead stays the same, right? But the culture shifts. So overhead stays here, but your culture and your deliverables and your profit per person, per client, per interaction, those are all going down. I said, so it feels like quicksand. So if you're not willing to sit down and say, we have to fix our culture, our message, our story. And I tell people straight up, I say, if you don't have a compelling, easy to understand, easy to repeat story,
yeah,
you're going to get left in the dust.
Yep.
I'm sorry. It's just the way things are now, especially when you leave a small town. Compelling, easy to read or easy to understand, and easy to repeat story. And so the reason I tell you that school is the year before they had, I think, 10 people after their open house sign up for a tour and 2 applications. And after we wrote this message of it's inclusive, it's empowering, it's we sacrifice a lot as individuals and as an organization because your child is worth everything to us. And it wasn't a sales pitch, it was true. But nobody knew that because they weren't telling. They didn't know how to tell that.
Right.
And so I just said, guys, y'all have the most brilliant message and story ever. I said, sometimes we sit down with people and we have to concoct this and tune it so it sounds right. So your passion and your strategic businessy person doesn't sound so strategic businessy. Let's kind of tone that down. They're all passion, all heart, no strategy. And I was like, this is the greatest client ever. So all we did was tell that story. God, I don't want to say who it is, but I'm not going to. And the next year, I think after their open house, they had 95 tours.
Golly,
and,
that's a big difference.
47 applications.
Wow.
2 to 47. And so when people are like, what's this Kool-Aid you're drinking about this? And I said, it has to be compelling, easy to understand, and easy to repeat.
Yep.
And if it's not, you're missing the boat.
And compelling doesn't mean manipulative, right? So
God,
people could construe that from that statement.
No, and so
I'm going to force you to believe a certain thing about these.
no,
people,
and so
right?
I would say compelling. We'll do something that doesn't sound compelling at all. Let's talk about a place that changes oil. I'll do something off the cuff. Hopefully, I don't airball this because I'm look really stupid on camera. So we've gone full circle from like a let's just make this fun, from a very, very difficult upbringing to then we get into ministry and not understanding your worth, and you're not speaking up for yourself, so you put yourself in continually very difficult situations.
Right.
That is now partially your fault, and definitely still the organization's fault. So it's still 50-50. And so fast forward, come out of that, find healing. Marriage is looking great. Start a business. Holy cow, clients adore me. I feel like I'm on cloud 9. Love what I do. Love who I'm doing business with. Love my family and friends. And then COVID hits. And it's like, and so it's tough. Most of those clients either had to cancel or pause their contracts. And fast forward, start to get momentum again. Things are starting to come back up. Hurricanes hit, wipes it out again. Even worse.
Yeah.
And so I think,
Well, because I mean, so many of your clients now, their businesses are closed, or they're they're out of town, out of their house.
oh yeah, that's why it's hard to explain what I do for a living. One of my favorite things I do is like being involved in capital campaigns, because I love when people need resources to do. I'm a church kid at heart, of course. I did it for so long, and so when people need resources to do something really great to help people,
Right.
I'm not just the videographer, I'm the like strategic marketer. And so I believe that if you tell the right story, instead of raising like $100,000, you could raise $200,000. But if it's an organization that is obsessed with helping people, that's okay. Like that's a good day, because now they can do more. And so that's my favorite. Well, I had 3 strategic campaigns lined up from September through the end of the year. 3. And so, not small contracts by any means, just financially. And within 2 days of the hurricane, I had two text messages that was like $15,000 just evaporated instantly. And so the dollar amount doesn't matter. It was those were my dream, just for them to not call who they normally call. It's a big deal in this town for them to not just by default.
Go, right.
Yes. For them to say, okay, the Kool-Aid you're drinking, I want some. So the hurricane took that from me.
Well, I mean, it's potential for growth for you. I mean, learning experience, you know.
Because I like to talk a big game. I think it's fun. And so let's go full circle. That's what the last 12 to 14 months have been like. Just kind of chaotic. Really amazing, then really more amazing, and then, terrible and kind of up and down. And so I guess to bring it back, bring it all together is no matter what happens with the hurricane, with the house, with everything that's going on, I love helping people shift their mindset, clarify their message, right? And give them or teach them powerful tools to help them more effectively tell that story.
That's awesome.
And I'm going to be honest, in this town, and just like the nature of our market, it's kind of fun.
It's challenging.
It makes me the kooky person a lot. It really does. But the reason I told you the story about the school is that's what it is. I made it back. I got to sit, we're talking about another video, and I got to sit with one of the people who's usually on the other side of the argument. And I told him what I do. And we were just talking about an idea, and I said, it was so cool. I said, when you tell the right story, you grow without asking someone for their resources, for their time, for their energy. You're not selling them. You're not informing them. I know you see every social media video, 99% of them. Hey, this is what's coming up. Hey, this is what's on sale. Hey, this is what's...
Yep.
I could do the voice. I'm good at it. Hey, what's coming up this next week? We're going to be doing... Blah, blah, blah. It's like, so exciting. Everything is so exciting. Everything all the time so exciting. I said, the way that you do it is you say, You know what, guys? I'll tell you what's exciting. Accepting that these hardships and the brutal hand that we've been dealt will make us so much better in the future.
That's good.
And I don't have a flashy video for you, but I have a reel. And if you'll journey with us, it'll make you better. And he's like, how do you quantify that? And I go, I haven't figured it out yet. But I said, that's what I do for a living. And then it just made me feel so, God, it made me feel so good in that moment. Because she, the principal that hires me all the time, I should have shouted out. She probably wouldn't care, but I'm not going to. She just looks at him and she's like, that's my dude. And I was like, I could do this forever. So the COVID and hurricanes are trying to make that not a possibility. So,
but what you just said, man, like, I mean, we're going to come out of this better people for it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, what's the other choice? We don't
just pick up and leave.
Which there has been a lot of people.
That have, yeah. And so, nope. One day you'll hear my explanation of I've got my crazy, I did it at your house, my imaginary whiteboard, crazy business model. And I said, you said, well, why is this leg of your business model that you said you want to be a consultant and develop a knowledge base and give people inexpensive, low ticket tools and high ticket coaching? Mm-hmm. Why are you doing that? And you're going to have a creative agency. I said, it's very simple. Because in this town, the creative agency has to have a competitive and lower price point because of the brutal dealt that our economy has had.
Yeah.
And so I can make $10,000 videos, but they're only going to sell for $3,000 because we can't afford it. I can't. I know you can't. I know all of my clients can't, but it's still worth 10 grand. So you know what I decided to do this year? I'm going to build that business so I don't have to leave. So if I have to make a $10,000 video for $2,500 or $3,000, I'm not going to go make a crappy video. They're going to get a $10,000 video because that's how I operate.
Right.
But I can't raise a family on that. I can't. There's too much at stake. The equipment's too expensive. The office is too expensive. The overhead, the teams. It will not be possible. So I'm going to go build a business that thrives inside or outside of Lake Charles, no matter what, because I'm not freaking leaving.
Yep.
I'm sorry. I love it here.
I mean, this is home.
This is my goddamn home. I grew up in Grand Lake. I'm a country boy at heart.
Yeah.
And I'm not leaving. And so hopefully that was the point of this podcast. So I wish I had my imaginary whiteboard. I hope someone gets something from that. I will find the financial and physical means to do what I love to do no matter what, even if the economy here or the creative vibes here don't allow it. No matter what, if that's not allowed, I'll find enough people that let me feel like I'm thriving, even if the paycheck's not there.
Maybe it's just because people haven't really brought that to this area yet.
Oh, dude, there's some creatives in this town. There's some people in this town that we've just been hanging out and talking. They're all younger than me. And the whole, you got this closed fist vibe. Don't take my client. What are you talking about? Don't tell people that. All that I've felt for the past decade, none of them have it. Open-handed. There's plenty food at the table. There's plenty fish in the sea. I just want to help people. I just want to be creative. And I was like, thank you, God, that this is the future of this town. It's so powerful.
Yep.
But my idea, now remember, I'm the 34-year-old that, down at heart wants to be a 19-year-old. But that's why I have to have the first leg of the business.
Right.
Because I need the financial means to support the passion project.
Right.
And so I'll have clients and family, friend. They're going to be like family. If anybody that's ever like Andrea Ploche Bourgeois, oh my goodness, she is like a sister now, and she's launching 2 books.
That's awesome.
What the heck? And so she's literally like a sister at this point. It's the greatest thing. And so one day I wish I had that video done so I could be like, go click, it's in the bio or whatever. But that would be my challenge to your audience is that I guess 2 things. I'll end on that. Is that in the middle of these times, they're very, very trying physically, emotionally, and financially. Absolutely brutal.
Yeah.
And so You have to figure out if your dream and your passions have been ripped from your grasp. It's okay to tighten the bootstraps, make ends meet, keep the family afloat, keep the wife happy, the kids safe. And I have to tell myself this. If you can do all those, eventually you'll find the financial means to go back to the passion project. What you love to do, whether it's preaching or speaking or writing or whatever it is. And that is okay. Like beyond okay. That's actually a huge accomplishment with the hand that we've been dealt. And that would be my challenge to everybody is, I have to remind myself of that every day. As that if it's enough to cover the bases, keep the family safe, keep a smile on my face.
Not everything can happen in one day.
Shut up, Brent. No, it can't. That's what I hate. It's like, how did you know? Every single day, I'm like, why did they not answer the phone? Why did they not answer that email? Why did the insurance company take another day? Why is that camera still on pre-order? Why can't I have that lens right now? Why did that client, who I thought we had a 5-digit budget, say, I'll talk to you in February? Yes. I want all of those answers today. That's why I have to remind myself. Did you hear me say it's a process of building? Reminding, okay, it's a process. So kids are fed, happy, safe. Wife is secure, happy, safe. Roof over your head. Stop complaining. It's okay.
And then the next thing you have to face when you do get the camera that's off of pre-order is, why did it get lost at FedEx? I'm just saying.
Remember my NTG5? It got lost and then it shows up. They left it on the road.
Well, mine got lost too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
We both lost the same microphone.
The same microphone got lost, yeah.
2020. Mm-hmm. I'm over it. I'm so over it.
Man,
okay.
You've been awesome. This is great. I think this has been more helpful than you think. And,
really?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I feel like if we were drawing like some sort of anagram,
but you don't always have to draw. Sometimes it's just about.
Well, I do these two things. If you ever come on as a coaching or consulting client, I do this a lot. We're starting here, we're going here. I do it so much that I've learned to reverse it for the camera. This is your left and this is your right, like the workout people.
Yeah.
And so I feel like our path from the beginning to the end is like, how do you talk about his mom and then the all over?
Some people just need a good story, man.
You know what? They do.
And it doesn't have to be super planned and structured. You got to go with the flow.
Man, I wish we had more time.
I know.
Maybe
we'll do another one. I don't know.
We need to do another one because
we'll do another one.
I legitimately got a text message from Andrea because we're working on her one-liner.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, she's going to hate me for this. And it's okay. I'm going to show you the power of a one-liner. So she's writing these 2 books. This is a good one. I don't care how you fit this in or whatever you do. Someone's going to benefit from this. If people don't know who you are, what you do, and why you do it in 7 to 10 seconds, compelling, clear, and easy to repeat and understand. Remember that. And so she's writing a book and she's writing another book, and she tries to explain to me how she got the 2 ideas. It takes like 2 minutes. And she connects all the dots. And I'm like, God dang, this is really, really good. I gave you 2 minutes because I care about you and you're paying me. Okay? So someone that doesn't know you, you don't get those 2 luxuries.
Right.
And I was like, why in the world do you have a book about the coming out of Egypt and, another one of Hezekiah and some other stuff? And so we're working on her one-liner. And so here you go. This is kind of rough, but so she did this. She put it on her little banner. Y'all can't see this. I don't think you can. She drew it with her picture. This is what having a compelling story does. It also gives you confidence in what either God has given you or the business idea that you have. That's the other thing that I do. I just like to build people up.
Yeah.
I asked my coaching call. Anytime I get off of a coaching call, I always ask, do you feel like you can run through a wall now? That's stupid. I just like to do it. I was like, do you feel like you can run through a wall now? They're like, I really do. I was like, okay, it's good. See you next Tuesday. And so, why can she write 2 books 3 months apart that are seemingly unrelated, 2 different non-linear stories in the Bible and 2 completely different women or clients? Why can she do that? She can because She helps give people tools to study God's word and help them apply scripture to their own life so they can grow closer with God and discover how to turn their pain into purpose. So that's why she can write 2 books that don't seem to be related, because they were 2 versions of her pain, 2 different applications from her life that apply to some of the same women, but they may overlap, they may not. And so now she has the authority to take those versions of her story in her life and write 2 very, very different things for possibly 2 very different women. And we have this nice, pretty umbrella that gave her the authority to do that. And she feels like she could just conquer the world. And just, God gave her a clear vision, clear message, and now she can't wait to just constantly talk about it and share it and believe it. And she believes the best about herself. And it's just a little marketing exercise that applies. And she wants women to feel confident studying God's word so they'll feel closer to God. They'll find purpose in their pain. They'll be excited to dig deeper and experience God in tangible ways. I want them to want to seek and find new ways to be used by Him and share their story wherever they are in life's journey. Man, isn't that good?
That's so good.
I didn't do anything. All I did was send her a picture of a one-liner exercise and said, people need the best version of you in 7 to 10 seconds. You're amazing. Have a good night. Text it to me tomorrow. That was it. I didn't do anything special. That's inside of her. I mean,
sometimes people
noted you need a consultant to send you the right text message. It probably helps that I'm on retainer, but what? So I think that's another thing that your people can go. I don't care if you're an entrepreneur, a writer, an influencer, a pastor, right, a boss. You can be a stay-at-home mom. If someone says, what do you do for a living? Stay at home with the kids. I just make sure they're fed and stuff. Okay. What do you do for a living? Well, being a husband that has to work 40, 60 hours a week and being a kid in today's world isn't easy. So I dedicate my life and every ounce of energy that I have to make sure that he feels supported and loved and they feel taken care of.
Same thing. Yeah. But one message is way better.
Wasn't that good?
Yeah, it was good stuff.
That was good. Stay-at-home moms, there's your elevator pitch. Yeah. And so if anybody knows what I do for a living, there you go. That's probably the best example. That's good.
Being a guide on people's story.
I love it. I love to tell amazing stories and help people more effectively tell theirs.
Man, that's good. Thanks for being on.
You're good too, man.
Yeah.
This is fun.
I'm all right.
I needed it. Do you see? I'm like smiling.
I know. Yeah,
I needed this. I'm so happy now.
And that's the whole thing with this. It's just fun. You have fun. Have fun. Share your story, and
dude,
be real for people to hear. That's really it.
That's what's up. I'm not being full of crap.
No, I know.
I feel like $1 million right now.
Yeah.
Thank you for this, Brent.
Yeah. Therapeutic, isn't it? I'm gonna send you that bill.
It's quite therapeutic. You take Blue Cross?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, I do actually.
Oh, man. Well, so thank you so much for having me, bro. It was a blast.
For sure, man.
Can't wait for the next one.
Yeah. Stay tuned for the next one, guys. And I don't know necessarily who it's going to be yet. I have a few people lined up, but I'm looking forward to it.